It was one of those golden Saturday afternoons when the whole town of Willow Creek seemed to be at the same supermarket. Cars crawled through the crowded parking lot, horns beeping as frustrated drivers searched for a free space. Shopping carts rattled, children argued over snacks, and the sun shimmered off hundreds of windshields. Then, cutting through the noise, came the deep growl of a black SUV. The vehicle swung into the lot, weaving recklessly between rows of cars. Without hesitation, it rolled straight into the handicapped parking space closest to the entrance, the blue paint bright and the wheelchair symbol impossible to miss. The door opened, and out stepped Karen Miller, mid-40s, stylish, confident, and radiating the kind of attitude that said she'd never been told no. She adjusted her oversized sunglasses, tossed her glossy hair, and clutched a luxury handbag. Not once did she glance at the handicapped sign or the empty space on her mirror where a permit should have hung. A few cars over, Tom Rivers watched in disbelief. He was helping his elderly mother, Eleanor, out of their compact sedan. Eleanor leaned heavily on her cane, her steps slow and shaky. The heat shimmered on the asphalt, and the short walk from a distant spot already looked exhausting. Tom called out, trying to stay polite. "Ma'am, that spot's reserved for disabled drivers. Do you have a permit?" Karen paused, turned her head slightly, and replied with an icy smirk, "Mind your own business. I'll just be a minute." Then she strutted toward the sliding doors, leaving Tom fuming and his mother struggling under the blazing sun. That small moment of arrogance, unnoticed by most shoppers, was about to set off a chain of events that would leave the entire town, and later, the internet, stunned. Tom stood in the sweltering heat, his hands gripping the steering wheel as he watched Karen disappear into the store. His mother, Eleanor, slowly made her way across the parking lot with her cane, her steps unsteady on the hot asphalt. Every few seconds, a car honked behind them, impatient for a space that wasn't coming. Tom's patience snapped. "This isn't right," he muttered under his breath. "People like her think the rules don't apply to them." Eleanor, ever the gentle soul, tried to calm him. "Let it go, honey. Some folks just don't think." But Tom couldn't. He glanced again at Karen's shiny SUV parked boldly under the blue handicapped sign. The empty permit holder hung clear as day from the rearview mirror, empty. His mother deserved better. People like her deserved better. He pulled out his phone and dialed the local non-emergency police number. "Hi," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "Someone's parked in a handicapped spot at Willow Creek Market without a permit. It's a black SUV. Could someone come check it out?" The dispatcher assured him an officer would be there soon. 15 minutes later, the crowd in the parking lot stirred as a patrol car rolled in, lights flashing softly. Out stepped Officer Mark Daniels, a calm, composed cop known for his fairness. He immediately spotted the SUV, noted the missing permit, and began writing a citation. Just as he slipped the ticket under the wiper, the automatic doors of the supermarket slid open, and out came Karen, sipping a large iced coffee, her cart piled high with groceries. When she spotted the officer near her car, her expression shifted from smug to furious in seconds. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" she shouted, marching forward. Officer Daniels looked up, unbothered. "Ma'am," he said evenly, "this is a handicapped space. You don't have a permit displayed." And that was the moment everything started to spiral. Karen froze when she saw the police officer standing beside her SUV. Clipboard in hand, writing a ticket. Her face twisted in disbelief. "Are you kidding me?" she shouted, storming over, her iced coffee sloshing with every step. "What do you think you're doing to my car?" Officer Daniels looked up calmly. "Ma'am, you're parked in a handicapped spot without a permit. I'm issuing a citation." Karen let out a sharp laugh. "Oh, come on. I was inside for, 5 minutes. Don't you have anything better to do?" Her voice grew louder, drawing the attention of people nearby. Shoppers began to pause, some whispering, others quietly recording on their phones. The tension was thick. Daniels remained professional. "The duration doesn't matter, ma'am. These spaces are for people with disabilities who need them. You don't have the required permit." That's when Karen exploded. "This is harassment. I pay taxes. I have a bad back. Does that count?" she barked, crossing her arms. "Do you have a doctor-issued permit for that?" Daniels asked, steady as ever. Karen scoffed. "You know what? I'll have your badge for this." She crumpled the ticket and tossed it on the ground, glaring like she'd just been personally insulted by the universe. The crowd gasped. Phones lifted higher. Someone whispered, "She's going viral for sure." Daniels switched on his body camera and spoke evenly, "Ma'am, please calm down. This isn't worth escalating." But Karen wasn't listening. "You're power tripping over a parking space," she yelled. By now, half the parking lot was watching. Kids peeked from car windows. Shoppers stopped mid-cart. And in that moment, Karen's tantrum wasn't just a scene, it was a spectacle. Little did she know, within hours, this very footage would be on every screen in town, and far beyond. The air in the parking lot felt heavy. Dozens of eyes were fixed on the unfolding drama between Karen and Officer Daniels. Phones kept recording as Karen crossed her arms and glared at the officer, her anger simmering like the afternoon heat. But instead of arguing back or raising his voice, Officer Daniels did something no one expected. He took a deep breath, kept his tone calm, and said, "Ma'am, I'm not here to fight with you. But if you've got a minute, I'd like to show you something." Karen blinked, caught off guard. "Show me something. What's that supposed to mean?" "Just walk with me," Daniels said gently. With the crowd watching curiously, he led Karen across the parking lot to the farthest corner. There, under the scorching sun, sat an old sedan. An elderly man in a wheelchair, Mr. Jenkins, waited beside it while his wife struggled to lift heavy grocery bags into the trunk. Sweat beaded on her forehead. The look on Mr. Jenkins's face said it all, exhaustion and quiet frustration. Daniels gestured toward them. "Mr. Jenkins is a Vietnam veteran. He has a heart condition and limited mobility. They had to park all the way out here because the only handicapped space was taken by your car." Karen's smirk vanished. Her hand slowly lowered from her hip. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. The old woman looked up and smiled kindly at Karen. "We'll manage, dear," she said softly. Something shifted inside Karen. Her anger faded, replaced by a wave of guilt. Without a word, she hurried forward and began helping Mrs. Jenkins load the last of the groceries. The crowd that had gathered fell silent. No one laughed, no one filmed, just quiet respect for the moment when entitlement met empathy. The crowd slowly began to disperse, but the moment lingered in the air like a quiet lesson everyone had just witnessed. Karen helped Mrs. Jenkins place the final grocery bag into the trunk, then turned to Mr. Jenkins, her face flushed with embarrassment. I'm so sorry," she murmured. "I didn't realize what I'd done." Mr. Jenkins gave a gentle smile. "It's all right, ma'am. Just remember, sometimes a few extra steps for you mean the world to someone else." Officer Daniels nodded approvingly. "That's all we ever ask, ma'am, just a little understanding." Karen nodded silently, eyes lowered, before walking back to her SUV. The crowd that had once filmed her now watched quietly, some even putting their phones down. Without another word, she got into her car and drove away slowly, the anger gone, replaced by reflection. But the story didn't end there. Later that evening, one of the bystanders uploaded the footage online with the title, "Entitled Woman Learns a Powerful Lesson from a Cop." Within hours, the video exploded, millions of views, thousands of comments. People praised Officer Daniels for his calm professionalism and compassion. Others shared how they or their loved ones had faced similar struggles finding accessible parking. For Karen, the viral fame was humiliating at first. But instead of hiding, she chose to own her mistake. A week later, She visited the police station and handed Officer Daniels a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten note and a $100 donation receipt to the local Disabled Veterans Fund. "Thank you," she said softly. "I needed that wake-up call." From then on, Karen became a quiet advocate for accessibility awareness. What started as an act of arrogance turned into a story of redemption, proof that sometimes, a single act of kindness can change more than just one person's day.